episode 45 of the Geek Week in review. And this week is hugely Marvel heavy, so stay tuned.
The Geek Week in review.
Hello and welcome back to the Geek Week in review with me, Jacob's Toys, of course, the wonderful one and only SuperSorrell, and we got RyanSpeaksGeek. If you're listening on podcast, then please do download, subscribe, follow, all of those things. And if you're watching on YouTube, then you know the drill. Please do like, share, subscribe, and all of the things that make the videos worth watching. If you check the description, then give the guys a follow if you don't already do so. And yeah, if you're on Instagram or Facebook, you can catch up with the Geek Week in review on Facebook and Instagram. I really should come up with like a script for that bit because it's the same every week, but I always struggle. So
we should do like a pre-recorded thing, just in like a different voice, like a service announcement.
Welcome back to the Geek Week in review.
Have you heard Toy Polloy's thing? Like, you know, he's as English as can be, but his intro to a video is "Welcome to Toy Polloy." It's like, oh, hello.
Yeah, we do. We will. I'll tell you what. Once we pass the year mark, we'll pre-record an intro. How's that?
Yeah.
But yeah, episode 45. So we are creeping up to that year mark, which is great. And this week, go on, Sorrel.
We need to think of something to say about poor Ryan, because every time we do the intro, it makes me laugh every time. It's like, it's the wonderful one and only SuperSorrell and Ryan.
And Ryan Speaks Geek. I know, I always feel bad as if I'm saying it as an
No, because basically my position in life is I'm also here. Like that's no, I get it. You know, you guys started it as you keep reminding me. I'm just
I've tried to be humorous
along
with it.
for the ride.
I've tried to be humorous with it.
If this was a movie, Ryan would be under, you know, like Coffee Boy or Coca, like
Kenny. I'm Kenny from South Park, basically.
Now, you know when you watch a film and they do all the big intro credits and it's like, you know, this person, and then there's the and this person.
Yeah,
and
in small writing on the bottom.
It's usually a really big star, but you're like, why have you like patronized them by putting an and in front of their name? But no, we don't mean anything by it.
It's our Millennium Falcon. You go sit in the backseat, 3PO.
Oh, are you Han or Chewie? Sorry. Ooh.
I'm definitely the Wookiee.
We're still relevant.
I'll take Han, then.
We're still relevant.
I'll quite happily be Han. Oh, there's a cosplay week. And I'll we'll edit it into the Millennium Falcon cockpit. But no, speaking of
the
Star
chances
Wars,
of that working are 56 billion to 1.
But you know, we joke about Star Wars, but this week really is a Marvel week. Like it is massively Marvel heavy week.
It is a marvelous week.
Marvelous week. Oh, excuse pun.
That's why I don't get an intro. That's why I don't get an intro.
There you go. Because you do your own. You do your own. But no, for anybody that is watching, obviously we're in the beginning minutes of the podcast. What we're going to delve into is we will talk about MoonKnight episode 4. We'll go into that first, I think, and we'll cover some of the spoilers in there. So if you haven't seen the episode yet, fast forward 15, 20 minutes. After that, we'll talk about things like Thor Love and Thunder with all the posters and figures, and of course that teaser trailer. And then we'll also talk about the marvelous Marvel Legends live stream. The marvelous Marvel Legends live stream.
And also the Transformers Fan Tuesday live.
We will
thing.
We'll cover the I even wore a Transformers t-shirt. Look, or a jumper.
I've gone for my sort of candy sugar skull stormtrooper one today.
Nice.
Keeping it. Yeah.
But no, we will talk about Transformers towards the end as well, and then obviously any other news as well that's come out over the week. But let's kick it off with MoonKnight episode 4. So spoilers ahead, but MoonKnight episode 4 was it was an interesting one. It's different.
Mad. It is absolutely mad. I love it, but like the funny thing is, every time I watch it every week, I'm like, this is good because I'm going to get a better sense of what's going on now. Next week, I'm like, but next week I'm going to get a better sense. This week, I'm not going to bother saying it. I've got no clue what's going on, but I'm really happy about it. Weirdly, I shouldn't be as happy about it, but like the biggest spoiler alert ever. But you know, when the episode ends on two personalities hugging themselves in a place which I don't understand where they are, because they've just seen a giant hippo god, I go, and my reaction to that sentence I just said out loud in the real world, my reaction to that is awesome. Something the world's gone mad, man.
I mean, it's the thing is it's so like typically MoonKnight.
Homework.
Like, nice. Now the third personality is called Jake. I know I've kind of joked about it the last few weeks, but Jake is the third personality. I can't remember his surname. Begins with an L, I'm sure of it. But
it starts with a B. I'm sure of it. Yeah,
starts with saying no, but it's Jake. Jake something. Jake begins with an L. Can't remember. It's on the tip of my tongue.
He's got to be what's in that sarcophagus that was going nuts that they both looked in.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, they've been hinting at him for the last couple of weeks. Like, there's been like that big scene where they blacked out and both Mark and Stephen were like, kind of, was it you? No, it wasn't me. And then there was that third sarcophagus, as you say. But interestingly, the reason I brought it up is because you held up that, what was that? Like one of the graphic novel kind of
Marvel's Mightiest Heroes by Hachette. That's what they do. Ones where they focus. This one has got featuring Werewolf by Night and MoonKnight 32 and MoonKnight Volume 5, 1-6. So it's got this whole. Nice. It's a combination. These are like sort of This is a really good graphic novel series. It's old, it's out of print, but like they're cheap to get hold of. But they just pick one Marvel character or team and stuff like that, and it's just a combination of stories that they think is a good intro to them. But it's a really good one. So
Werewolf
I found
by
out I
Night.
had MoonKnight. I didn't even know.
Well, show me the picture on the front though, because it's see, that's the armored suits. We were talking about will he have his own suit with his third personality of his own suit? The armored suit is the other kind of third suit, if you like, and it's more tactical. It's more like a Batman suit. So it's weird in the comics because at one point he does twist, and it's not about the kind of mystical powers and stuff. It's just very Batman-esque with a tactical suit and all that kind of stuff. But there is another version of the suit. So if they really want to give fan service to give us a suit that alludes to that version of the suit, Marvel Legends did a figure of it, and yeah, so that's it. Jake, what's his name? Jake L, I'm going to call him. But I think he's definitely in that sarcophagus. But as we're starting at the end, I do want to bring your attention to one thing. Did you recognize the place that they were? The white building place.
Oh, no.
Did you recognize it? That's the place where, when he goes and sees, he walks in and the jackal chases him and they're all climbing up all the scaffolding and stuff like that. It's the same building.
Oh, in the museum?
No, not the museum, not the first jackal, the second one. When he goes and Ethan Hawke.
Sorry, me and Ash just at the exact same time, just both went. Just both our heads were in sync, like.
No, when Ethan Hawke like banged the cane on the floor and the purple hole opened up and the jackal came through.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so the hospital kind of place, because did you not think it looked a bit weird with all the brickwork?
It was very weird. And then the lights and stuff in the corridor looked out of place.
Yeah. But if you actually go back and watch on, I think it's episode 2, maybe, it's the same building. And the Ethan Hawke's office with like the kind of circular bit, that's what kind of gave it away to me. You can see parallels of that building and it's exactly the same. So it says to me that this is not a real place. This is in his head, or
it's in his head, definitely. Yeah, I got
something.
That. Anyway,
yeah,
the fact that he's hugging himself meant to me that he's in his head. There isn't two of them, so he's definitely in his own mind. I assumed he was just at that point. He's been shot and he's dying. That was like the transformation to death almost. I half expected like an Anubis style god at the end, like the god of death or something to appear to him, but no, we got a great big hippo.
No,
exactly. Is the god of fertility.
Fertility and the protector of mothers. Because I did look it up before the show, and she is the protector of mothers is the main like thing that she does. But she's the goddess of fertility, and she hasn't featured in Marvel before. This is the first time Marvel have used this god, so it's not a link to the comic books in any way, shape, or form.
You know what does stress me out a little bit though is that we've got this wonderful, friendly, high-pitched voice hippo god that's the protector of mothers. And then in the next Marvel film coming out, we've got Gore the God Butcher. Like that could set up for a really harsh scene. Let's be honest. Like no one is going to want to see Christian Bale kill a hippo.
Oh, this is going to be Bambi all over again.
It really is. It really is.
I didn't pick up that it was like the homeless, the living statue was the guy ringing out the bingo numbers and stuff like that. There was a good video that went around on TikTok or YouTube, and it was only a quick one. but it had the scene running on one side, and then it had what everything was that you were seeing like being next to it. Cool. And it was really clever because it was like the guy doing the bingo calling was the living statue guy, the gold guy, and then it's like his boss from the the thing, and she's holding the scarabs, which is the thing she was telling him to put on the shelf, and absolutely everything in that scene, everything to the minute, it's something that we've already seen. It's really clever. I didn't think I couldn't until I saw the video. I didn't appreciate it as much how clever that whole sequence is, because it just is everything that's happened in the series so far.
What did, because a lot of people that had seen the first 4 episodes, like the people that were invited to the fan screenings and stuff, said by the end of the 4th episode it all kind of makes sense, and that kind of made me feel bad now, because I was like, it doesn't answer the questions of everything that's going on. Watching it as it goes, I think that as we've been saying, I think it's in his head, it's something like that. The question that I've still got unanswered though is what happened with the fish with one fin? Like, why was that such a big thing in that first episode of like, my fish had one fin to start with and now it's got 2? I know you came in but we've not got an answer to that yet. Yes, what was that part of the snap? Was that part of like the
variant?
Like, WandaVision or
variant
Spider-Man or
Loki or Agatha variant
Mephisto,
something.
Mephisto.
I just assumed it was because
Mephisto.
Yeah.
I just assumed it was because the whole thing about the fish, like, to me, was the start of the whole showing you he's got a dual personality. Something like he went to bed that night and he had a crappy little manky fish. He woke up the next morning and he's got this fully grown fish with 2 fins. The fish changed size as well. It was like he had like a gimpy little fish, and then he's got this big meaty thing. So obviously it's a different fish.
He's got a shark.
Yeah. So I just assumed it was the start of something else is going on, kind of thing.
Yeah. One thing I will
Aquaman
say as well,
in a tank.
one thing that did make me laugh is that I love the cameo of a Marvel Legends figure. I really did think that was a really nice little thing. But what made me laugh is even the creative team behind the show went, yeah, we need to take that plastic cape off and put like a soft goods one on because the plastic one's crap. And it's like saying that the consumers, I like my plastic capes. I'm going to say it. I don't mind them. But a lot of collectors have kind of gone, oh, another crappy plastic cape. Give us a soft goods. And even in a show, they were kind of like, right, we've got this really cool figure. We're going to feature it, but lose that plastic cape and just throw a bit of a sock on him or something and it'll do fine. Like that did make me laugh. It was cool. It was cool. And what I did find funny about it is that it's a figure that it came out relatively recently. It was maybe last year before. And a lot of people kind of got it. They bought it, those that wanted it. But now everyone's going mad for it and really want to kind of get it. And I've seen on the group some people trying to sell it for like 100 quid. It's just ridiculous.
Goes on eBay for about 150. People are buying it at 150. That is nuts.
It is insane.
That much.
No, I mean, it is.
Nobody wanted that figure. Nobody wanted it a month ago.
No, when it came out, people were buying multiple versions of it because it was just readily available, and it was a plain base white, figure for customs and stuff. And I know people that bought like 5 or 6 to do like Future Foundation setups. I'd already done my Future Foundation, so I didn't need to. But it was like, and I was like, this is crazy. And now it's going for like 150 quid. But I still wouldn't sell mine because it is, if you like MoonKnight, it's a really cool MoonKnight. And it comes with 2 versions of the head, like a black mask one and a white mask one. But yeah, I just thought it was cool to see it and just made that figure a little bit more as seen in MoonKnight, But yeah.
Did you notice in the scene where they showed, the little god statue thing that Khonshu's now caught in? Did you see all the other god statues?
Yeah.
There's loads of them. So that group, the Ennead, they've clearly been at this for a while, capturing other gods.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if that's gonna come into play at some point down the line.
Yeah. I'm still waiting for the villain, if that makes sense, because it seems like, okay, so Mark or Stephen don't have the suit now because obviously Khonshu's in the statue. But if he does get the suit back, like taking out Ethan Hawke's character isn't going to pose much of a challenge. He could essentially kind of break him in half.
I've got a theory about that.
Yeah, I've got a theory about that too.
Come on, let's hear him.
Right. So my theory is that Khonshu will get the girl she will be the one who actually unlocks the studio. Not as it gets the girl. Not as it. Yeah. Okay. So I've just made it Notting Hill. It's not like Hugh Grant's can come in. I'm terribly sorry. I happen to be an Egyptian god and in love with you.
Holding up signs like,
yeah.
Don't tell Mark. But I love
you. And then it ends with, Tears of Jupiter from all that kind of stuff. My theory is that Conchu, I can't remember what the character's name is. I feel really bad. What's the character's name? The wife.
This is the first. This is the first show where I've totally the names lose. I go blank on
Mark and Stephen's the only two names I can seem to remember. But
I
reckon Conchu will actually go. She'll break the sim. She'll get the MoonKnight suit for a little bit, and Conchu will make a deal with Mark and Stephen to go back to them, or whatever this other one's going to. I think so. Conchu will release her. But I think it'll be a big thing where he doesn't want to release her, and there's some kind of big thing. But I think she's going to be the one to release Conchu and temporarily get the suit and possibly an extra figure in a wave.
I thought the same thing. Just because Ethan Hawke's character isn't overpowered, he's not like a physical powered hero or anything like that. So having Mark put the suit on and just kick the living crap out of him would mean nothing.
No.
So I think Stephen's going to fight him as Stephen. I think there'll be a big bravery scene where he finally stands up for himself, and that's him standing up for himself against that Hawk guy, Ethan Hawke's character. And then I think she'll break break the head off the statue, the spirit will go inside, proper DC style with the witch, and then we'll see her become the female version. Because then we would have seen all the versions of MoonKnight in one season, really, wouldn't we? We'd have got the female MoonKnight, Mr. Knight. We've had all the versions then.
Yeah,
and
but we still have got that third personality, and how is that going to come into play? What's going to be the big reveal there? Because for some people he's the favorite personality as well. He's this wise talking cab driver.
I think that'll be a thing for the future. I think they're going to allude to him. I think we're going to meet him in this program. But if there's any form of like we keep alluding to, if there's going to be any form of after credits, any meet up with any other characters. Maybe that's a thing of why he's needed for something else. I don't need you, Stephen. I need the other guy. Have that kind of an ending to it.
Yeah, that could be true. That could be true. Are we going to see the crocodile god? We're going to see
how. I would love them to do it. It's just how, because that god would look if you made that god into a form, it would look frigging ridiculous, wouldn't it? We had an elevator with a weird headdress, and it looks so weird.
But I don't know. They could make that look really creepy, and especially after seeing in this episode, the two kind of zombie things, it could be quite creepy looking. Depends how they do it, but
they made a very good alligator in Loki. That's what I'm saying.
They used
to CGI that alligator onto the body, just the head of that.
What if it is that alligator? What if they
that's how it's all connected.
Alligator Loki comes through, and it's it was him all along, But it's interesting. It's interesting that you say other figures in that though, because the Marvel live stream. We'll get onto that later, but they did show inbox pictures or inbox physically the figures of both MoonKnight and Mr. Knight and Hawkeye and Kate Bishop, and then they talked about the rest of the wave. And they turned the box around and they had nope written on the back. So they totally trolled everyone. And I think that was a really good move after obviously the leaks of the Thor wave. But it's produced. And I was having a discussion on one of the groups because people were talking about who else was going to be in the wave. But what interests me is that it's scheduled for 2023. So it's scheduled for the beginning half of 2023. And as most collectors know now, the kind of dates they give you are nothing to go by. They jump around. Oh. So I think that they put them in for that. I think there's going to be one more reveal in this wave. It's not just going to be made up of random comic book characters, because if it was, they would have pushed it out already. So the fact that these figures are in boxes already show that they're produced. They're on the production line. So that whatever it is that's in that wave is done. It's dusted. It's in a box. And it has to tie into something. Now, it might be something like Miss Marvel or Thor Love and Thunder or something like that, but there's definitely something in this wave that they're holding back on. So it quite possibly could be another MoonKnight figure, another MoonKnight character that we haven't seen yet.
Yeah, I think it could be if they are going to do the like I don't know what they call her in the comics, the female Moon Knight version. Does she have a name?
I don't know. I can't
Lady
remember.
Knight,
Did they Miss Knight?
Fee Knight.
If they do, you have her in the TV program. There's no way they're not making a figure very quickly, bashing one together with that. Come on, I could see it being her, and then maybe her actual regular human character or something.
Or even the third
Even hot.
costume, even the Jake costume, if there is going to be a variation of the costume.
Yeah, because that would be so easy for them to do, because obviously they've already got the sculpt, the face scans and everything for him because of the Star Wars line.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't be a massive jump for them to give us the civilian version, actually, would it?
No.
You can just get Stephen, Mark.
I'm looking at my Poe Dameron, by the way. I'm looking at Poe Dameron on myself.
Yeah.
I'm thinking how many of them are going to sell for
just 3 heads.
Yeah. See, I actually looked at picking up one of them Poe Dameron figures for the head sculpt, and then I was kind of like, you know what, it doesn't look as good. I think that they'll get a better version before the figures are out. Or
no, you need to get the Argos exclusive one that came later that's got the better face scan. The original 2 were awful, but the Argos exclusive one that came out was the better one.
I'll have to look into that one. But it was a good episode. I enjoyed the whole tomb thing. I like the fact that the story of her dad being killed kind of came 360, and she found out the truth, and we were left on a cliffhanger. Like there was a massive cliffhanger. So
some real like proper Brendan Fraser style The Mummy vibes, and I loved it. I was very happy about that. Because like the Mummy and obviously the second one, we don't talk about the third one. But you know, the original 2 Mummy films.
What about the spin-off, the Scorpion King spin-off, or is that
the Scorpion King is great. The Scorpion King 2 to 17 or whatever, how many volumes they've done of it now.
You call it the Sporking King?
Oh, Scorpion King, the Sport King. Yeah, from the food halls of M&S, the Sport King.
The Sporking King.
You called it the Scorpion King twice.
Scorpion King. Scorpion.
No, go back and watch. I'm sure you called it the
Scorpion King.
I don't even know what Sporkion is.
I think you did.
I really
sorry, Ron.
Anyone listening, you've got my back. And if I'm wrong, I'm going to edit out in post.
But yeah, Scorpion King, it did have, you're right, it did have very much mummy vibes about it. Even like her hairstyle and the way it was tied up and their costumes and that. And I think there was a bit of intentional there. It was very Indiana Jones, very mummy. I think Ryan's either frozen or just really happy with himself. He'll be back in. He'll be back in a sec.
For me, what I was thinking though, because I'm not familiar with the character of Moon Knight, me and my dad both, I watch these with my dad and my brother every week, and we had to like pause it for a minute and have a quick Google, because you find that obviously the revelation out about her dad and stuff, but they've never truly given you the full explanation. It's kind of like we assume you've read some comics at some point in your life, so they just kind of left it open a bit. And my dad was like, "What the hell's going on? What does that mean?" So I had to sit him down and sort of give him a bit of a comics lecture for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
On Moon Knight's backstory. So whether or not they're going to go into that in the next few episodes, and when you watch it all together, it'll come full circle. I don't know. But I felt like could have done with a bit more explanation for people that aren't that au fait with it.
I think it's going to be, I think it was last week or maybe the week before, but my personal thoughts on it is by the time the series is kind of concluded, we're gonna have that kind of so you can kind of go back and watch this, because you got to think of rewatch value as well, and they're not putting it together for people to just watch once. I think they'll conclude a story so that you can watch it, and think back to like WandaVision, like how mind bending that was, but by the end of it you've got kind of a comfortable kind of wrapped up story.
I had people were talking in the group this week about in this, was it the first episode where he's in that weird, I don't know where he goes. He's in it looks like some European country, doesn't it? And everyone was saying that could look with the castle in the background as well. Could that be Latvia and the introduction of Doctor Doom? That would be quite cool. That would be a cool way of doing it. Just having that in the background, and then at some point you just get a scene with Doctor Doom in his castle. That'd be awesome. Yeah.
We got Ryan back, but
I don't know what happened with my internet. It just stopped working.
Ryan literally went and fed the hamster and put him back in the wheel.
I got He's on very thin ice.
You've got a very Moon Knight-esque background this week, Ryan. Like you look like you're in the archives of like some museum or something. Like it's...
I am a little bit. This is I actually call my nerd room the archive. True story, because it's where I keep all the books and DVDs and stuff, and all my reference books of knowledge. I
just have the images of you there reading that.
You laugh, but it's not far from that actually.
No.
So and it's got my one Detolf, which finally, instead of just storing boxes, I have actually done 2 little mini setups. Because
I know,
for Easter,
I
I got the original Mighty Morphing Power Ranger Megazord. My amazing wife got me, which was incredible. I'm very happy with that.
You were one of them kids that got a toy at Easter, weren't you? Like, see, I was lucky if I got an egg.
Oh no, not at all. It was Easter eggs. True story. Yeah. I am 32 years old, but my mum still does an Easter egg hunt for us every time we go around there, every year, without fail.
And at the age you're at now, you just smash it. Like you absolutely dominate it. Those 8-year-olds.
No, that's the most annoying thing. I should be like Sherlock Holmes in the shit out of it, but I don't, because my mum has come up with some very creative ways of hiding them in the house now. And obviously now it's 5 of us. It's me, my 2 sisters, and now our partners as well. So like, my mum's turned it into like this epic Hunger Games type thing. So if you don't win it, you don't eat, sort of thing. One of the eggs is full of cement, and whatever. Like one of it. I'm joking, but it's great. But that's a wonderful thing about sort of growing up. Then again, my mum always still comes to see the new Marvel films and stuff like that. My mum's as big a nerd as I am. You can see where I get it from.
That is pretty cool. I must admit, we got lots of kids in the family now. Most of them belong to me, but there are 4 of them are mine. But we did an Easter egg hunt, just going off subject quickly, but we did it on the Monday and it was really hot. So we went and put them all out in the garden and that. And then we kind of got in and got drinks. By the time the kids found the eggs, they were like this delicate, like egg-shaped kind of chocolate smush. It was just brilliant. Like these 3 and 4-year-olds bringing back handfuls of like gooey chocolate. We were like, oh fuck it. Let's just have another beer. But no, it was it was a lot of fun. But yeah, no, back to Moon Knight. I think it's been a really good episode. I'm really, really excited for next week. And what we got this penultimate episode next week, isn't it? So I think we're gonna we're in that kind of dip now. I think this was the build up to the roller coaster. We're kind of at the top, and now it's the rush of the kind of tail end of the story. So who knows? But there was one other thing that dropped, talking of Easter Monday, and it came out on Easter Monday. And as soon as it did, the internet kind of went a bit mad. And that was, of course, the Thor Love and Thunder.
Thunder! Sorry.
No, see, Sweet Child of Mine. You had a perfect setup there. You could have
No, I know, but I still think the
yeah, they should have
struck. But it did work, the Sweet Child of Mine, because it is like it sounds stupid. Sweet Child of Mine in my head is always one of those songs I think of like some sort of self, looking for where they belong in the world teenager has just discovered like good music and is in like listening to on his own on a bus going, I don't know where I belong. Like you're not even an outcast, but you think you're an outcast and you're listening to that going, no one else knows this music and no one understands it like I do. And that's kind of where Thor is by the looks of it in the trailer. So it kind of works in that respect. Yeah. Lost teenager, doesn't know where his place is in the world.
I thought it was...
I would say for me, I love the whole AC/DC vibe is cool, and I love AC/DC music. But that for me is very Iron Man because of they obviously use a lot of it for Iron Man.
Yeah.
So when I think Guns N' Roses for Thor is brilliant.
Yeah.
Child of Mine, brilliant.
I just it's a teaser trailer, so it was like what, 1:30, something like that.
There was a lot in it though.
It was so much, and the internet kind of went a bit mad because people were annoyed that they didn't show this, and this, but then pleased that they showed this, and this. But the thing to remember is it's a teaser, so to have that much in a teaser, and obviously the big reveal of Jane Foster's Thor at the end, like I thought they was going to save that for the film. I did not expect it in the teaser trailer.
I'd actually be just happy with that if that was just the trailer we got before the film. I'm actually getting a bit annoyed about trailers that now people want these trailers that are like 5 minutes long that show like the bad guy, show the good guy, show the main bit, show this, that. Like just trailers used to be, like in a world, a load of build up and speaks and stuff like that, and then they would be like, starring and then in brackets Ryan Speaks Geek at the end. But and that other guy with glasses.
It's like Uncle
Fester with headphones and the glasses. But like teaser trailers, you didn't get a teaser trailer and a trailer. You just got the trailer. The trailer was the teaser for the film. So
Well,
like, you know,
just listed other films the person had been in is like Jean-Claude Van Damme in the same crap you've seen over and over again.
This time in a white vest. But
Chris Hemsworth from Thor and other Thor and the other Thor and Avengers and then Thor again.
And the good Thor. Chris Hemsworth from the worst MCU film ever and the best MCU film ever. But
what a roller coaster.
I think that if they played it, that this was all we got, that's enough. Like, I'm happy. The trailer had enough in it that I was like, I know what I'm getting. I know the vibe of the film. I know the kind of the undertone of the film. And yeah, I don't need any more. Like, I really don't need any more going into it. Like, I will happily go and see that film based on that teaser.
Chris Hemsworth and Chris Pratt together are going to be amazing.
Oh,
can we just really picture? Just like we got to talk about the bit there, haven't we?
It was just like, I laughed out loud. I haven't properly laughed out loud at a trailer for so long, and I cracked up like. And I think I smile every time I watch that. Now. It's just brilliant. It's just like you see his whole redemption arc. You see him getting fit again with a strongest Avenger hat. You notice that as well? Yeah. But you see him working out, and then you see him kind of back in the Thor gear, and you see him with the Guardians, and then you see him kind of going, you know what, I'm
trying to do the big
guys.
Cloak thing.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, that's it. And then you see him going off, and you see him with Korg, and you see Asgard, and you know all that kind of stuff. Did you see Meek in a dress though?
No.
Meek is in a dress. Like, people are kicking off about Valkyrie being called King Valkyrie. You wait till you get Meek in a dress. Like, people are going to go mad. But there's concept art out there of like Meek 2.0. And one of the concept art is I don't know what the correct pronoun would be, but like them.
It's a species. We don't even know what we're not even
Meek,
massively sure Korg is male. It just happens to have a human male voice.
But Meek has got a much more feminine kind of structure to its frame. It's like a big kind of robot suit, and it's got like a feminine. It looks like it's got hips and stuff. But then there's another one of it in like a pencil skirt, very kind of Peggy Carter looking. Like, have you just found it?
Yeah.
It's like an office attire. But then if you rewatch the teaser trailer, the bit where Valkyrie's at like the UN meeting kind of thing, if you look just past her shoulder, you can see what looks like Meek in this kind of shoulder padded suit dress kind of thing. And you wouldn't notice it unless you'd seen the concept art. But I just think that in itself is just the fact that Meek is going to be kind of assisting Valkyrie at like UN meetings in a pencil skirt. Like,
that's hilarious. I freaking love that. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's just, and Korg has got like a Viking outfit, and Thor is,
well, this time I decided to go for some fashionable shorts, potentially trousers, but they didn't do them in my size. So technically, even though they are trousers, I'm representing them as 3/4 lengths.
But then as well as the teaser trailer, we got a poster which was the very 80s looking. It just screamed He-Man to me. Like, as soon as I saw it, I was like, that is Dolph Lundgren, like Masters of the Universe, like Thor atop of a mountain holding Stormbreaker up, like just really 80s kind of action hero. And then cleverly a couple of days later, Natalie Portman released her version on Twitter, or I think it was on Twitter, and basically they've swapped Hemsworth out for Natalie Portman, and it's now Jane Foster's Thor on top of the mountain. But then obviously the merchandise then all came out as well. So the Marvel Legends wave was kind of officially revealed. The Mjolnir that you see Jane Foster, the prop that was revealed. What else came out?
It's definitely a reforged Mjolnir. It's not like one from an alternate universe or anything. It's a reforged Mjolnir, isn't it?
Is there a pop? There is a pop of Meek in a dress.
A secretary's dress.
Yeah. Brilliant.
But yeah, there's
you heard it here first.
All the Mjolnir toys have got the blue lightning running through the brick part. Like the stone part of the hammer, making it look like she's reformed it. So I think it's like a reforged hammer.
Yeah, definitely. Which is interesting because you never really saw where that went, did you? Like it kind of shattered, obviously, in well, that was Ragnarok, wasn't it? Yeah, so it shattered in Ragnarok, and then no one kind of went and picked it up or picked the pieces up. And you would have thought that maybe Thor would have like kind of gathered it up.
I kind of want it to be some really funny thing where it's like he's got like a little jar that says "My Hammer" or something in it, and it's just got all the pieces. He just tips it out. Like, could you fix my hammer, please?
I was going to say, I wondered if it would be a cool way to bring back a little cameo for the collector, and tie Guardians into Thor a little bit more by having Brad Pitt back as the collector. They could be a nice little cameo. And he's got like you say, he's got all the pieces.
Brad Pitt,
not Brad Pitt.
Was it not Brad Pitt?
Benicio del Toro.
Toro guy.
Two very different actors.
Sorry, del Toro.
Yeah, I wish like Eddie Murphy would come back as like Surge.
And I've always really enjoyed David Duchovny as head of S.H.I.E.L.D. Just Nick Fury. It's just really my kind of actor.
Since 8 a.m. and I've just finished to come on a podcast. Leave me alone.
It's just because it was really funny to be fair.
But no, Brad Pitt though. In all fairness, he's done that cameo in Deadpool, didn't he? That's probably where you're catching over.
Brilliant.
But yeah, there's a lot of interesting. I want to see where it goes, and obviously, we know what we're getting with it. We know it's going to be awesome. It's going to be brilliant, and as you say, Chris Hemsworth and Chris Pratt on screen together. That's just going to be amazing. But my theory is we're not going to have a huge amount of it. I don't think that I think it's going to make up like a third of the film at best, because it's not as Guardians of the Galaxy film, is it? So I think it's going to make a short thing.
And Rocket is in it. I didn't think Rocket was in it. Yeah. Remember the week we spoke, and I was like, don't think because Bradley Cooper's still not listed on the credits or anything. So I don't know if it's a non-speaking cameo from Rocket. I don't
know. You couldn't have Rocket and not have him talk. Like,
it's just weird that Bradley Cooper's still not listed to any of the credits. I just find that odd that everyone else has been listed in credits except Bradley Cooper. Yeah. Last time I saw.
I don't even remember seeing him in the trailer.
Oh, it's because he wasn't moving. He was just standing incredibly still. No, he is actually in the trailer though.
Yeah. And Mantis has got a slightly different. Yeah. She's changed a little bit. So I think this will be a transition film for them, obviously, between Endgame and Guardians 3. But yeah, I don't think they're going to make up a huge amount of this film.
Personally, I think this is Thor's swan song. I think this is his end, like his ending to his story arc. And I think they're gonna leave him to the. I don't think they'll kill him off or anything, but I think they'll just leave him to the point where you like how they do with Steve Rogers. They can kind of bring them back if they need to later on. But I think this is going to end with him, because obviously you see in the trailer he put Stormbreaker in the ground, a bit like Thanos hanging up the scarecrow thing, isn't it? It's that same sort of thing.
Wants to be a farmer.
Symbolism. It's that same symbolism, and he says in the trailer, "My days of superheroing are behind me." So I think this is a case of he just wants to be the ruler of Asgard now, or the leader of Asgard, and rule his people. And I think that's why Jane Foster's Thor becomes Thor, because he's going to become the king of Asgard basically, and he's no longer Thor, if that makes sense.
Well, we also don't know what order the because there's that scene where he's obviously on the ship with the blue-haired pirate girl. Like, who's that? She looks cool. But there's another scene as well where he's kind of got Stormbreaker at the front of the boat or something, a ship or something, and he looks very pleased with himself. And that could be kind of the end of the film of him going off to do something. But
we definitely see Olympus in this as well, don't we? Because
Zeus is in it.
Zeus is in this.
What's his name?
Could we get Hercules appearing in this as well?
Potentially.
Ooh, good shout.
Potentially, that'd be exciting. Who is it?
I wonder if we'll get Peter Dinklage back to make the hammer back together. Because he formed Stormbreaker, didn't he? And obviously the Gauntlet.
Isn't it Russell Crowe playing?
Yeah, Russell Crowe's Zeus.
Yeah. So Hercules could be a good, kept secret.
And my thing was as well from the trailer, just another little like nugget and fan theory. When he puts Stormbreaker in the ground, that is technically a piece of Groot. If he plants that, could that not then grow into one of his species, like another version of Groot could live in Asgard with him? And he's got Groot growing out the ground with a goddamn axe attached to his hand.
So you think he's going to essentially clone Groot?
Basically, because that's how. Well, technically, when we had Groot in the first film, and then he died, and we basically got a seedling version, and that's the son of Groot. Technically, in the comics, they're not the same thing. It's a new plant. So I mean, technically, if they just plant his arm, he's a special species of, like, I forgot the name of it. He's like, he grows from nothing.
What was interesting?
He grows. So like that was the thing in the trailer. I saw that the fact that they planted him.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's like a tree going to grow out of him or something by the end of the film.
Speaking of Groot, there was a lot of talk on the internet about what stage Groot was going to be at for this film, but we've seen now he's teenage Groot still.
Yeah.
So not a lot of time has passed since Endgame.
I think Gunn has said that we won't see adult Groot again. No,
we're going to see kind of
late teen, but we won't see him. We won't see him. Like, we won't see Guardians 1 Groot again, apparently.
No, which is I'm fine. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. What is really interesting is that when you look at the MCU as a whole, like the whole kind of MCU, 12 years now. Yeah. Thor, the original Thor film is great. The second Thor film is one of the worst, or classed as one of the worst MCU films. However, Thor is the only character from that original lineup that's gone past 3 of his own films. So this marks him being a standout character.
Oh, yeah. Didn't think about that.
He's the only one that's gone past a trilogy. All the others have had a trilogy, not taking into account things like Avengers and team up movies and stuff, but he's the only one that's got 4 Thor. So I don't know, maybe it's just a play on his name, but there's 4 Thor films, but not multiple, not past 3 on the others. So backing up what you're saying, I think this is definitely going to be his swan song, or the kind of the end of his story. Yeah. And I'm pleased because I think Chris Hemsworth's Thor, even right back at the beginning, like I enjoyed him and I thought it was so well portrayed, but they definitely found his voice in Ragnarok and making it that kind of funny without making it
they did show that little bit of the humor in the second Thor film. Is that bit with the underground station, which always cracks me up, when he's going through all those portal things and he ends up like in London Underground next to the train. He gets on the tube, says to the civilian woman, like, he's in the middle of a battle, gets transported to like the tube, gets on the tube, like, how do I get to Greenwich Park? That's two stops.
Thor Ragnarok's one of the only Marvel films that my wife will sit and watch without moaning about it. Yeah. Because she finds like the bit where they do Just Help with Loki and stuff. She finds that hilarious. Yeah. That's like one of her favorite things in the world.
Interestingly, Ragnarok
don't want to do Just Help.
But Ragnarok was the only film that I managed to get my whole family to sit down and watch, like as in my wife and kids as well. Because I was like, look, this is funny. Like, you are gonna find it hilarious, and you don't need to know about the heroes and the stories and stuff to enjoy it as a film. And based on that, they branched off and kind of went down their own paths. And it was a very proud day. Ragnarok was the day. But it's a brilliant film. Like, there's no denying it is a standout, one of the best Marvel films.
They brutally kill off the warriors as well, which is just like, it was very unforgiving of that bit, like going, oh, goodbye. Yeah. I mean, but we have got Lady Sif coming back in this film, which she wasn't in the trailer, I don't believe. And she is slated to come back. So I do wonder if maybe Thor will go off into the sunset with Lady Sif. Because they did have a they won't they type thing at the beginning.
Yeah.
So if we use what you said about it being the swan song, that could be it. You finally hear Lady Sif go and start having some Thor siflings. I don't know.
I would like him to have a happy ending. That's because if you think about it, his dad's dead, his brother is, as far as he's concerned, dead as well. Jane Foster wasn't interested, but is now Thor, so she's got her path to lead. Like, a lot of the people that he was close to, like Heimdall and stuff like that, have obviously all been killed in battle. His friends, the Avengers, Stark's dead, Steve Rogers has gone, Black Widow's dead. He didn't really get on with Hawkeye, let's be honest. They weren't best buddies. All of these things that he was linked to have gone. So I'd like to see him get some kind of happy ending, or at least something that is suitable, if that makes sense. So I'm hoping we get that as well. But who knows? I just can't wait. I can't wait. And I love the fact that we've had this teaser and it's not that long now until it comes out, which is cool. Which also
another reason why I would be happy if it was just that, and we just had maybe a slightly, if we did get a second one, if it was just slightly expanded from the existing one, I'd be more than content with that. I don't think we need more.
No.
I'm looking forward to being surprised.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm really excited to see what Christian Bale does with Gore as well. Like, we haven't seen any hints towards him. The only reveal we've had is from that Marvel Legends figure. And I think Funko did a pop of him as well. But,
Lego. Good old Lego.
Well. Yeah.
Probably revealed it before he even got cast because it's Lego.
At least Lego kind of, they say what it is. Interestingly, talking of Lego, all the Dominion, Jurassic World Dominion figures are in like the toy shops now, and all the Lego sets, and they name the different dinosaurs, and they name the different raptors that we see in the trailer as well. They're not all velociraptors, they're different versions. So just a little dinosaur tidbit there as well.
That's going to be so good.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because they've explained why the new dinosaurs look different now as well, haven't they? We've seen all that, which I'm quite excited about. It's like the genetics of the frog, because they've been in the wild now for so long. They've now basically mated naturally for so long that they've got rid of the genetics of the frog, and now it's a full velociraptor that should have been. That's why it's all feathery and stuff now rather than scaly.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting. It's going to be really exciting. Multiverse of Madness is getting ever so close now. It is a matter of weeks away, and they keep dropping TV spots and this image and that image. So I think we'll hold back on any talks on that until it comes out. So I think we should talk about Marvel Legends. I think we need to talk about that big reveal. Starting off with Thor, they obviously had their Marvel Legends. What was it? Tuesday, Fan First Tuesday, Fan First Monday. And they did reveal the Thor figures, but they didn't really talk much about it. They just kind of went, "You've seen these, here they are," but they didn't give a date as to when they're actually out. They've not, now we know from the groups that the street date is the end of April, but there was no mention of when they go up. There was no mention of, and I felt like we were being punished. It was kind of like, you all saw these early, like somebody ruined it for you. Everyone shared it. So here they are. We ain't telling you when you're getting them, but they're coming. Like,
you can know everything but the date.
Yeah, it was a real burn. And obviously we talked about the MoonKnight figures as well, but they were not the two main parts of that live stream. This being the 60th anniversary of Spider-Man, they're doing the Beyond Amazing Spider-Man line, like the specials, and that was predominantly what we got. We got a lot of those packs, didn't we? So let's just break them down a couple of minutes on each one of them. So the Ned and Peter 2-pack, starting with the big one. Now, initially, personally, I was kind of like, nah.
Civilian Tom Holland, I get, and I would like, because he's good for dioramas, good for shots, good for photos. But I could have done without Ned. I really didn't need a Ned thrown in, especially a Ned with a Spider-Man head.
See, I was the other way around. I was like, you know what? I didn't need a Tom Holland civilian, but a Ned was cool because Ned is kind of the king of.
I'm just gutted he didn't come with a micro brick Death Star to drop, like really micro brick, like actually made out, or even made of like 4 or 5 Lego, like a Lego Hasbro collab, just for that one little thing. That
would have been cool. That would have been cool.
But don't forget they don't know anything about those films because it was that really old film, that one with the lightsabers. That annoys me to this day. That.
Oh, I know. But I think it's really how it goes full circle and he's building the Death Star like thing. But interestingly, I was the other way around though, because Tom Holland was on an interview talking about like basically if there was a civilian figure of him, then people would just have a small figure of him in their house, which would be weird. And I was kind of like, so I don't kind of want a Tom Holland because I know he thinks it's weird. But the Ned figure, I was like, that's really cool. And the fact that I can put a mask on him and he's, but that was a cool 2-pack. It wasn't everybody's cup of tea. People either really liked it or really hated it. But the head sculpt seemed pretty good on it. The costumes looked accurate enough. So yeah, I was happy with it. And now that means that you've got a Ned, a Peter, and an MJ figure all in civilian clothing. And I think that that Spider-Man MJ 2-pack is definitely going to become a lot more sought after now, because that MJ figure you could pick up for pennies because people were just selling her off. I had a couple and did customs and stuff with her because people were buying it for the Spider-Man and then passing off the MJ. But then season collectors were like, no. If you know anything about Marvel Legends, hold on to one of those because there will be something else to go with it. So I'm really pleased that we're going to have the kind of trio in civilian clothes. It'll make for some good pictures and stuff. So that was the Homecoming set. We then saw the Future Foundation reversed suit, the negative suit or reverse suit. I can't quite remember, the black and white version as opposed to the white and black. Yeah. And that's kind of for me, as somebody that's got pretty much every version of Spider-Man out, I was pleased that we're getting it, but they did allude to the fact that they might do a white version again in the future. So I think we're going to see Future Foundation at some point. But that was a bit of a nothingy, take it or leave it. We saw the comic book accurate Iron Spider that we have obviously seen in figure photography as well. I can't remember who it was that revealed it. Was it The Amazing? I think it might have been. But yeah, we've seen that figure in shots and in hand and the reviews and stuff. So it was good to see a release of that. We saw the Null and Venom 2-pack from King in Black, which was pretty epic. Came with a huge price tag. But yeah, but the biggest thing about that 2-pack, that was the biggest thing, is that they were so clever with that. So everybody, as soon as that movie Venom figure came out, everybody said, do a classic Venom on this buck. And I even got two and did a custom comic book Venom on that buck because it was such a perfect one for it. So they were very clever, as in, oh yeah, we've listened to what you said, but we're going to put it in this box set that's high price and whatnot. But it is a good 2-pack. I think the only trick they've missed is if they can't put the wings on Null, then that's a shame. But it's still quite an epic looking Venom with wings, and it was a very short-lived look for him, but an interesting take. So yeah, I was kind of like, I'll have a bit of that. So that was that one. What was the other one? What was the next one? Oh, we saw the official kind of inbox in hand pictures of Silk and Dr. Octopus.
Yep.
And I'm kind of eating my hat a little bit because even though I've got that fan channel Silk, the new head sculpts and the new web effects and stuff, and the new double jointed elbows and stuff, she looks like a good version of the character. Why hasn't there
been a version called Doctopus?
Octopus,
sorry,
because it sounds
Octopus.
as ridiculous. Come on, Dr. Octopus sounds menacing. Doctopus sounds like a Scrooge McDuck villain.
Beware the might of Doctopus. I still think Doctopus. There's scope for Doctopus. Doctopus. Yeah, it works.
So yeah. So that was that one. There was another 2-pack. Oh, the Spinneret and Spider-Man 2-pack. That one had me in stitches. I'm not gonna lie, that had me in absolute stitches. So Spinneret, like if you read the Renew the Vows story arc, it's a great story arc, and essentially Mary Jane gets spider powers as well, and she's got a spider suit, but I can't remember exactly how she gets them. I think she has them from the suit. I'm gonna have to go back and read it. It was quite a while since I read it, but I did myself a custom, and their daughter's in it as well, and she's got spider powers as well. So it's interesting they've done it as a 2-pack and not as a 3-pack, because when I did the customs, I did Spinneret and I also did the daughter in both the younger version and the teenage version. It's a great story arc, but what I thought was really hilarious about that is the retro Spider-Man figure is raking in huge bucks at the moment. Like, people are paying stupid money for it. Now, I understand people paying big bucks for it on card because it's essentially the first in the line and all that kind of stuff. So to have it on card, put it away. But to pay for it loose, the kind of 100, 120, 150 pounds that I've seen people pay for it is mental in my mind, like absolutely mental. So the fact that they've re-released that body on an essentially more classic looking Spider-Man with now toe articulation is like, if I'd spent 150 pounds on that figure and then they released that, I would be furious.
Could you imagine just putting the bid in and just but you've already put the bid in.
Yeah.
They announce it and you're just watching the clock and you're just going, someone else bid, someone else bid, someone else bid. Please, someone not watch the live stream.
Yeah. it's an interesting one. I was really excited about it because I was like, that's a cool looking Spider-Man. I'll definitely get it. It's got toe articulation. It's got a slightly different variation on the suit. Happy days. Yes, give it to me. But yeah, anyone that's just paid over the odds for that Spider-Man figure, unless they're a mint on card collector and they wanted it in box, like they have got to be kicking themselves. And I do feel for some people, but it's surprising how many people are now going, anyone want a retro Spider-Man for 20 quid? Just all of a sudden people are like, yeah, it's not worth what we thought it was worth. Like, it's 20 quid, 30 quid, like, go for it. I'll throw in an extra set of hands. It's like, buy it 25 quid and I'll throw in a rice square, like, you can have it. Like, it's just kind of yeah. But then my favorite reveal was the Amazing Fantasy version. You agree, or was that
I thought
I couldn't work out what that reaction was going to be.
I thought you were moving on to Lizard for a minute, then you were going to tell me your best pick of the day was Lizard.
No, I'm going to get onto that in a minute. I'll get onto that in a minute. But no, I think my favorite one was
Amazing
definitely
Fantasy.
Amazing
Was
Fantasy.
brilliant. Yeah, brilliant.
Just because it's a different body mold, so it's not a body mold that we've had previously. And again, for somebody that's got all the variations of Spider-Man, we got the smaller teenage version, we got the Miles version, we got the retro version, the Spidey version, the Pizza Spider. To have a new version of Spider-Man and to make it like reminiscent of that version of him in Amazing Fantasy 15 is brilliant. And it's just going to be one of them figures that I think that a lot of people are going to just get a lot of joy from, whether it's on the shelf, whether it's in the box, whether it's, posing it. And we saw a review of it by Sharpman Prime put out a review.
I was about to say Sharp review out earlier.
Yeah. But a lot of people complained because he didn't position the web wings correctly in some of his shots, and I just thought, come on, just enjoy it for what it is. Like, don't pick holes. But yeah, that looks like an amazing one. Amazing. And then of course we did get.
I want to say the shot he did where he's got he's got J. Jonah Jameson under the arm and stuff, and he did the shot from the comic. That was decent.
Yeah, it was a good shot. I enjoyed it as a review as well. I credit where credit's due. I was like, it gave me what I needed. Now, what I thought was really interesting is that they've put a lot of these figures out. So the Renew the Vows website 2-pack was reviewed, the Amazing Fantasy was reviewed, and none of these are due out until the end of this year. So the tail end of this year. So they are giving us kind of an in-depth look to these figures, which is cool. And I think the last one is the Lizard, isn't it? There wasn't any more. Have I missed any?
No, not from Spider-Man.
Lizard was the last.
Yeah, we got Lizard, or as I like to call him, the Gecko, because he's definitely no lizard, is he? He's too small. That's the skinniest lizard I've ever seen.
It's all like the Ditko head. So the Steve Ditko styled head is.
I really thought you just said Ditko, and I was like,
no. It is straight off the page. Like, it looks how it did back in the day in the comic book. And
I get that, but he's just too skinny for me to be a lizard.
Yeah, but he fell very much into the same area as Sandman. So everybody wanted to build a figure Sandman. It holds a ridiculously high aftermarket value price. There was an announcement that we were going to get a retro carded Sandman. They released it, and everyone was like, it's just a bit too small. It's not big enough. And so the Build-A-Figure retained its price, which is great. And I think the Lizard's the same, is that everyone was like, everyone wants this Build-A-Figure Lizard. A lot of people complained about it not being kind of articulated enough and not X, Y, and Z. And then they've given us a Lizard. So if you're a fan and you don't have that Build-A-Figure in your collection, you can now get a Lizard. But if you've got that Build-A-Figure in your collection, it doesn't make it worthless. And that's my favorite kind of release, to be perfectly honest with you. I'll pick it up. I think it looks cool. It looks good for a retro Lizard. But I'm with you. Lizard to me is a big, scary, like, character. So the Build-A-Figure is perfect, that dinosaur version of Lizard. And we got a bendy tail as well. They gave him a bendy tail, which is great. Thought it was a bit of an insult that they didn't give us bendy tentacles for Dr. Octopus, but then did give us a bendy tail for Lizard. But still, it seems to be a bit of a favorite.
There's only so much bendy to go around.
Yeah, exactly. Was there any other actual figures?
Yeah. There's 3 more, yeah.
What did I miss? What did I miss?
We've got Spider-Man Noir with the re-release of Spider-Ham.
Yes, of course. The Spider-Man Noir from Into the Spider-Verse. The Nicolas Cage version.
I am Spider-Man.
That was a really big one for me, and I'm surprised I forgot it because, you know, again, surprise, surprise, I've got Spider-Man Noir, but to get the Into the Spider-Verse version with a new trench coat with like new detailing, he just looks straight out of the movie, which is
and
even I'm tempted by that one. I won't lie, because I quite like Spider-Man.
And we
it's really nice thing.
I'm sorry. We finally got a new trench coat. Finally.
Oh, I know. And they even made a joke out of that, didn't they?
Yeah.
But I don't know how much that's going to get used because it's quite, you know, distinctive to that Spider-Man Noir. Like you couldn't put that trench coat on Nick Fury.
You could put that trench coat on a Gambit though, and then re-release it for a VHS box set.
Yep.
Coming
soon. You heard it here first.
Coming soon.
I was just about to say, I think though, yeah.
That's got Gambit written all over it with the collar up and the big swoosh.
Oh yeah,
that's Gambit.
Yeah.
You can have him flying through the air with his leg, you know, doing the kick and everything. Oh,
that is. I was disappointed that Spider-Ham was just kind of a retool. It, you know, they've not done anything to it, and for anybody that's like, if you're just collecting Into the Spider-Verse figures, you've already got that Spider-Ham. So to get the same one again is a bit of a shame. Like it would have been good to.
I did a video ages ago and I sent it to them, which was the Disney Store version. For God's sake, the Disney one that cost like £4, something, six quid, was better than the Marvel Legends one that cost 20.
Yeah.
And the fact that how they've done him dirty for so long, like that is a popular character. If you would put that in a box full of accessories, people would buy it.
Oh yeah, and you could
keep using him,
accessories,
but they keep playing it as second fiddle to another character. It's like, just give him a proper, fully articulated little 3-inch version of him, and then just shove a load of cartoon accessories in there. Acme bombs, big, stupid, like weights and all that. All the silly stuff from the cartoons. Shove that in with him, and people would buy it just for the accessories.
Oh yeah, without a doubt, hands down. So that was Noir. What else did we get?
Toad.
Oh, how could I forget the incredibly underwhelming Toad?
The one character we've been dying for years and they've still not delivered.
I was really disappointed, disappointed. It's the first figure that's been released where I'm like, I don't even care. I've gone this long without him. I don't care. Like, if you
what's the version of Toad you guys want then? Because like, I don't know too much about Toad.
On the Dr. Octopus body, a big fat bloated.
You need Toad was always like belly. He always had a belly on him. He was small and nimble, but he always had a little belly on him. And he was. I remember Toad in the green, not the yellow. I know yellow's comic accurate for the early days, but for me, Toad was always in green with the big purple hood attached to it. That was Toad in the comics for me.
Because my Toad knowledge really is from the live action film and also X-Men Evolution. They were my two Toads. Because you want an
Evolution's closer to the real Toad.
Yeah, I mean X-Men Evolution is amazing. No, Toad. Do you know what happens when a Toad gets struck by lightning?
The same as
everything else.
But I don't know. The thing is they've got such a perfect mold with that Dr. Octopus, and they've used it for Dr. Octopus, and they used it for Frogman, and everyone was saying Doctopus. Everyone was saying this is the Toad. Toad is going to cut. Toad is coming. Toad is coming. And then they've released him, and there's so much space in that box left. Like they've made it really skinny, and it's. I think the reason I was so disappointed is that the other ones next to their Toy Biz counterparts, next to the 20th anniversary figure, and I did this on my website. I did a kind of side by side picture of them all. They're very reminiscent of the one that you had before. Whereas then when you look at Toad, the Toy Biz one is skinny limbs, you know, a pot belly kind of, and then the new one is a skinny Toad, if that makes sense. And they don't look like the same character, whereas the other three do. And I was just like, I don't know, I was just really disappointed. And I love the little frog accessories, I think, or the Toad accessories. It's always good to get an additional kind of animal for figure photography and stuff like that. But they done us dirty a little bit. They could have put more in there. I would have even been happy with a lightning bolt as a little in joke. Do you know what I mean? Like just something, or
I
some kind of.
thought some slime accessories was done. Like even if they were just crappy things you put over the top, like the normal do, but something that resembled a slime, or because every in the comments, whenever they showed his tongue out, it was always covered in slime and bacteria and crap. And,
or
they
even
could have
just
done something with that.
Another head with like almost like a half of what they got, because we've got one without a tongue and then we've got one with a massive long tongue. Give us one that you could display him but still have the tongue, because for me, if I was to display him, for example, the way that I've got it set up, I wouldn't be able to have him with that tongue out and fully appreciate it, if that makes sense. But if they gave us another one with like a 3/4 length tongue or something, or even just one that went straight down, I just think it would have been good, because you could have got him in all poses and have the tongue hanging down. It would just been really cool. But
for me,
there's a full tongue chat in the show now. We cover so much.
Yeah.
When they posed him, though, for me, when you pose these figures up, I know you're a lot better at this than me, Jacob, but I can never get the hand to go flat to the ground. And Toad, for me, always sat in the squat position with the hand flat to the ground, with the other hand up. And they tried to do that pose on the live stream with the art rendering and stuff, and his hand's not his hand like that. Toad had his hand flat on the ground. He was using that as his leaning point, leaning forward on it. And if you can't get that pose, that's not Toad to me.
No,
that was Toad's pose. Or he sat on the shoulder of Juggernaut and have him sort of slap. You know what I mean? That was always the poses.
It was just a little bit underwhelming, and I think that the sad thing is we're probably going to see another Toad very soon. That we're going to see the alternate version, and they've given us the worse version in this box set so that it sells because of it being the 20th anniversary. And then the better version will be further down the line. But that was it, wasn't it?
That was it now, yeah.
That was definitely
the reason. I think the reason they featured that costume, by the way, I've just looked it up. The reason they featured that costume is because it first debuted in the Spider-Man comic. So that's why he was in that wave, or in that release. Because he goes with the whole Spider-Man history thing.
Fair enough. So let's move on to the biggest discussion point about the live stream, which wasn't any of the figures at all, and something that they revealed without any indication, and that was the new packaging. New packaging for Marvel Legends. Now, I know in the group chat that we us guys, we will talk. We don't. This is not the only time we talk on a weekly basis. We talk about everything as it comes out, and we're a bit divided. We're a little bit divided about our opinions on this. Ryan is a big, Captain Planet and all the rest of it. So I do get the pros and stuff.
So have I just been referred to Captain Planet? Because I said it was environmentally friendly. I mean, don't get me wrong. I've been compared to worse, but like,
hey, Captain Planet is a compliment. I was trying to think of.
I know, but that's like going like, I eat sweets, so I'm Willy Wonka. Like.
Hey, you know what I mean? I'm the only Oompa Loompa around here.
Just quickly on that note, right? Just quickly on that note. Do you know what I learned this week? The original.
Hey kids, do you know what we learned this week?
No, but the original Charlie Chocolate Factory film.
Yeah.
Charlie and the Chocolate. Do you know what that's called?
It's not called.
No, it's called Willy Wonka.
Willy Wonka. Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I've got Charlie.
Yeah, the newer one with Johnny Depp being like, should not be allowed around children version.
The Michael Jackson-esque version.
Yeah, that's called Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, I think.
But the original version with what's his name? Gene
Wilder.
Gene Wilder.
Excuse me, I swallowed my own tongue there. Gene Wilder version is called Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Which blew my mind because I was talking about it and I was like, oh yeah, the original Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. And so I went, what, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory? I'm like, no, Willy Wonka is the character. The actual story is called, and we were Googling it and I thought it was that whole like Mandela effect, whatever it's called, where like you.
It sort of is because everyone swears that it was called Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Yeah. But it isn't. It is called Willy Wonka and Chocolate Factory, but it is one of those things that a lot of people get very passionately adamant about. That no, it is Charlie and Chocolate Factory. But then you end up having the Frankenstein and Frankenstein's monster conversation.
Yeah. So there we go. But anyway, on to that one. So we have discussed the box situation. So Marvel Legends and Hasbro have been saying for years that they are going to go plastic free in their packaging, and we have seen it slowly drip through with like the army builders and and now the VHS releases and stuff where they're closed
Transformers
boxes.
line, Star Wars.
The Star Wars, some of the figures have come through in it. So we have kind of seen it drip fed in, but this Marvel live stream was the first time where they really kind of hit us hard with, here's all the new figures and they're all in the new boxes, with the exception of that Toad figure and the Lizard figure because of the retro style packaging. And they kind of alluded to the fact that we're not going to see it on all of the figures. So I'm assuming maybe the retro lines will stay in the retro style packaging. But for the majority, the standard Marvel Legend releases are going to come in these closed boxes with like a render on the front. And the internet was divided. Let's be honest. People were, yay or nay.
For the regular releases. So obviously, as a Star Wars collector, I think if the Black Series line came in that Marvel style packaging, that still had the artwork on the side, see, because since that artwork on the side appeared, everyone plays with them sideways anyway.
Yeah.
So as long as they continue that Muriel thing, I think most people will be cool with it. But when it comes to those like Empire Strikes Back 40th cards and things like that, and the retro ones and the TVC line, I think the need to kind of continue those on the regular bubble packs just to keep the line in the way it should be, or the way
I think the vintage collection, I reckon they'll at least finish the 96 in that style because they're obsessed with that. But I don't know, like, I think you're right. I think, the Black Series stuff, that's never, I don't think that'll ever go back to being, the normal standard release stuff. I think that's the thing. So I was talking about this with my mate earlier, and we both come to the agreement that we think that a lot of the stuff will start being like particular lines, like very small sub lines, will maybe still have plastic packaging, but overall general mass release lines will probably all move towards a cardboard only type things. Cardboard is much easier to recycle than plastic. Most people don't act, even when they do recycle the boxes, they won't separate the plastic window from the cardboard because people are lazy. They'll just put the whole box in or whatever. Then you've got like the use of plastic. And the other thing, as I did think, the cost of things with like environmentally as well, but like the cost thing wise, I don't know. I think I'd almost rather have a plastic blaster than I would a plastic bubble out of the two things.
But that was one of the arguments when the first thing that I noticed in the group, so people weren't complaining about not being able to see the figures. They were complaining about the fact that, well, this is cheaper for them to produce, but they're putting the prices up and they're not giving anything more. And that was the kind of original debate that I kind of experienced. I didn't well into any of it. I didn't dive into any debate. So I thought I'm just going to stand back and watch because.
But the cost of everything is going up there. The world is completely foobarred at the moment. Let's be honest. We're in a really, we are in a really weird time in history. With everything that's happened in COVID. When was the last time a pandemic like this happened across the world?
Oh, exactly.
But, everything that's going on with Russia and Ukraine. Energy prices are going up. Even like today, I have my little smart meter next to the TV. I swear I watch that more than what's on TV because I'm sitting there going like, get the electric goes up £2. I'm like, turn off the lamp, turn it off. Just sitting there with a lighter like this going, yes, I'll read in the dark tonight. I end up looking like Scrooge. But obviously I have a nightcap and everything.
Like I
have a nightcap.
A candle on a candelabra or something. Turn it down.
there's more of gravy about you than grave. But
you're cold. Put on a jumper.
I've layered the hell up. I mean, at the moment I'm insulated. I've got stuff around it. The archive's insulated.
You know how you're recycling your boxes? You're boarding up your windows. Just keeping that hot energy.
But I'll tell you what, I am soundproof to a mother flipper. But but they take it aside, the cost of everything is going up.
I agree. I do.
Food is going up. Everything up. To think that your luxury item plastic toys will not increase in price, regardless of the changes they're making to packaging, which will probably be very minimal cost changing packaging wise. They're probably not saving that much money in the grand scheme of things. Especially as well, they've now got to make sure that the little money people have left to spend on luxury items, because people have now got to spend more money on living. They've got to make sure they still find that balance between trying to keep people spending that spare money, little spare money they do have on toys and collectibles, but also going, okay, we need to keep our costs down, and also they need to be seen to do the right thing environmentally. If you take the cynical point of it, they need to be seen to be doing the right thing environmentally from a government point of view. The government's cracking down on companies using unnecessary amounts of plastic in packaging and stuff like that. Food industry, any industry. So, you know,
Ryan has come stacked. Like my debate, I'm just like, toys are cool. Like,
it's because I
agree.
I love my toys, but the thing is, I'm happy that I still have my plastic toys, so I can live without my plastic packaging. That's my compromise in my mind. It sucks. Well, I would love for it to go on forever, but I appreciate the fact in this day and age, unless they can make some kind of completely environmentally friendly and cheap way to make some kind of see-through plastic bubble, I just understand that we have to evolve with it. Collectors have to evolve with it. You know, look how collecting itself has evolved. So it's just the next step in evolution.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Thanks, Ryan. Can I be the guy that upsets you now?
Go on then. Let's all. I'll just be the moderator. Thanks very much, Ryan. That was some very interesting points. So over to the counter argument.
One thing that people aren't thinking about is, you're taking away the plastic packaging, which is lovely, great for the environment, but now you're upping your printer's resources, which is adding solvents to the environment anyway, and then you're putting these things back into goddamn landfill, which is just going to then pollute the soil anyway because of the solvents in the ink. People that you're replacing one evil with another evil.
Yeah,
but it's a more manageable evil.
Of course it is, yeah. But what I'm saying is that when people are saying like the price should differ, it won't, because the price will go up if anything, because now they've got to print more packaging. They've got to have more cardboard on the box. And they've got to
whatever that ding was, it sounded like one of you had scored a point. And
I think this is the Ryan or one of the guys from Hasbro going, please stop talking.
Yeah, hang on.
They don't send me anything anyway, so it doesn't really matter. In fact, weirdly, I'm the one defending it, and I'm still not being sent anything. How did that happen?
Shall I tell you what? Right, I'm gonna switch it completely, because the environmental side of it, the price side of it, it's something that we've known about for years. Like they announced this years ago. Hasbro is going to less plastic. We've known about it. We saw it come in. Whatever. The price rise, again, unless you have been literally hiding in a bunker for the last 2 years, everybody's seen the price of stuff going up. So like you say, these are luxury items. Nobody needs these things in order to live, like apart from the people producing them because it's their income. But that's not the argument here. But nobody needs to buy these things to live. They're not food, they're not clothing, they're not shelter, etc. So everything is a luxury. So ignoring the price and ignoring the environmental side of things. The argument that I'm looking at is how it's changing the collecting game, because there is a huge amount of collectors that are in-box collectors. And we've seen a rise in these in recent years because Sorrell's just gone, nope, sorry,
done.
I'm done. Like,
I'm out.
No, but there are in-box collectors, and I'm not an inbox collector. I've never been an inbox collector. And even the ones that I want to keep
all three of us are loose collectors, to be fair, aren't we?
Of course. But even like starting on that retro line, I was like, these are brilliant and they're beautiful in the box. And I had them in the box for like a couple of weeks, and I was like, that's not me. I need to get them out. I need to move them. I need to photograph them or whatever.
Be like Steve and let them breathe.
Exactly. There are a couple that I've kept in the box because they're duplicates and stuff, but I didn't buy them to keep in the box. But there is a huge market of collectors that are in-box collectors, and you see it on people's reviews, live streams, TikTok accounts, Instagram accounts, where they've got like a wall similar to what we've got behind us, but they're the boxes on the wall.
Oh, my mate Dave has got an entire wall of the vintage collection. It looks incredible.
Yeah, and they're the ones that I feel sorry for, because essentially it's like, that thing that you love doing, that thing that you've been doing for a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, whatever, it's now changing. Like, it's now got to be different. And if we just take the Spider-Man line, for example, if, Spider-Man is a very popular character. Spider-Man is a character that, a lot of people collect and stuff. And there are some people out there that just collect Spider-Man figures. And they will have a wall of Spider-Man figures. They'll have all the Spider-Man Marvel Legends on a wall. You've now released Iron Spider. So you've gone, here we go. Here's a figure that you've been waiting for to add to your collection. But you're not going to be able to see him unless you open him up. And that is a real kind of, they're the ones that I feel sorry for without any other kind of political arguments to it. I'm like, you know what? They're the ones that are probably going to be sat there going, have I reached the end of my collecting because I can't continue the way that I'm doing it? Or do I just have to rip everything open now? So I do feel sorry for them. But as I said, it's not something that affects me because I'm one that wants to get them out the box.
But lines change, lines end, lines begin,
Of course.
It does suck for a lot of people. And some people will jump off, but then some people might jump on. It will just change.
And I think, even kind of further from that argument, again, it doesn't affect us as UK collectors because we have reputable retailers that send us our figures and stuff like that. But for a lot of the guys out in America who have to hunt these figures down in the wild, there is, if you watch any video or any group or whatever, there are people out there that go into shops and even with see-through boxes manage to swap those figures out and send them back and get their money back. And you'll see like a Doctor Strange figure replaced with like a 1975 like Batman, like just with a He-Man shield and a head from Doctor Who or something. And the people in the shops have taken them back and put them back on the shelf. And this has just made it really easy for them. Just a bit, knife down the tape, take the figure out, put a flipping dog turd in the box, close it, seal it up. But then my counter argument to that is that that's happening across all things. Like I think I told you both about the Switch that I got from a very reputable online marketplace that starts with A and goes all the way.
Reminds you of a rainforest. Yeah,
that's it. And I bought a Switch for my son from Amazon, and it arrived.
You said it.
And, it's okay. They dealt with it. So, but it arrived from Amazon, and it went through all the checks and everything like that. And when we opened it, it was a packet of dog food to the exact weight, the weight on the pocket. Yeah, it was like 3.5 kilograms on the front of the envelope, whatever. And the dog food was 3.5 kilograms. And it fit the box perfectly. And we opened it up and it was dog food. And I was like, the heck? I'm sure I didn't pay £300 for this dog food. And Amazon dealt with it, but to the extent where they were just like, oh, okay, send us that back and we'll send you another one. And I was like, no, hang on a sec. Somebody has stolen a £300 console somewhere between me purchasing it and it being delivered to me. Someone has stolen that. And your answer to it is just, you're going to send out another one. Like, no, yeah, send us the dog food first. And I went, you're joking. I'm keeping the dog food because I have dogs. Like, you're sending me another Switch. But so it happens all the time. And I think that all that's going to happen is that the people that are stealing these figures are just going to get a much easier ride, or the stores are going to have to crack down on it. But again, it's not a problem that I have to deal with. So I find it hard to kind of understand fully because I don't have to deal with it. And
well, if the packaging's evolving, maybe the stores need to, sort of evolve with it as well. And maybe the part of the returns process needs to be that they need to, if it's that kind of thing, maybe they need to open these things, if it's just going to be a box or whatever, and see if it matches the picture on the front, or like, who knows? But if people who do stuff like that will always find a way to do that, regardless of what you change.
Yeah. But I think what's interesting is it makes Hasbro Pulse, for example, as a retailer, it makes buying from them a lot more, like a much bigger incentive to buy from them. Because, okay, if I can't see the figure that I've got in the box, I'll buy it from the source. Because then if there's any problems with it, they're going to sort it out for me. Us in the UK, we've got very reputable retailers. So I've got no issues continuing to shop where I shop. But yeah, I think that the online sales for Hasbro Pulse are definitely going to rise with this new style of packaging. And I think, unfortunately, Star Wars collectors have to kind of understand the reality that it's coming. It's hit us Marvel collectors. You guys are next. Like Transformers, as you say, they're in windowless boxes. Yeah, it's coming. Star Wars, it's coming for you. Like, just brace yourselves.
It's coming quicker than Palpatine's return. On that note, because I appreciate. I mean, people who listen to this don't realize how late we normally film these, but so I appreciate it's pretty late because Ash looks like he's about to fall asleep into his drink at one point there.
It just
because poor guy's worked solid all day and he's just going to keep going down straight onto us. But the packaging debate, it will carry on and we'll see more of it. But one other big thing, obviously, was talking about fan stuff. It was, you mentioned Transformers there, but Transformers had some big announcements. really good announcements as well. So this new line Legacy that they're doing, it obviously covers things from across the spectrum of Transformers. So every cartoon, every comic, everything's on the table. It's not just G1, it's G everything. So you have got in this new reveals, we have got a it's my little handy phone to here. We've got a new Deluxe Elita 1, the only Autobot, I might add, from this whole lineup as well.
Interesting.
Fembot from the original Super Series and Optimus
Fembot.
Prime's girlfriend.
Fembot was in Austin Powers.
Yeah, that's what they were sort of nicknamed.
I'm glad that your mind went there too.
Yeah, I just imagine one with like guns in the. It's the Fembot.
No, but weirdly, Retgar does have gun nipples, and it's very odd, and they're posable, which is just so strange.
Ooh.
So strange. Because when I actually had to do it as well, I feel like someone's gonna call someone on me. I don't know. I have to pose it because they were like pointing in different directions. But I was sitting there going like, "Oh, Retgar, there you are." That's woken Ash up. We've got then we got jumped straight to the 90s with like 96. We got Tarantulas from the Beast Wars cartoon. Then we've got generations. We got from the Prime series, which was much later in the 2000s. We've got Knockout, looks really good. Then we go back to G1 again with the Combiners, and we've got Wild Rider. He's one of the Stunticons. We got the Triple Changer Blitzwing, which is going to be quite massive, which looks good in robot mode, questionable in its vehicle modes. Then we go to a G2 comic, and we've got, I've never known how you meant to say this name. So it's JHIAXUS. So I'm not sure if it's G-Axis, Y-Axis, or, something like, maybe it's Welsh and it's like Gollyhock or something. I don't. I've got a Welsh family. I can say it. I'm allowed. I've got a free pass. So I don't know, but we're getting a really good comic interpretation of him from the cartoon, which will be really awesome. It's a good character, has a huge arc, never had much of a toy other than some repaints and a weird one they did in much later on, but that's going to be like a fresh thing. So it really is a huge spectrum from the Transformers history, the legacy of Transformers. Then bigger wise, we've got Motor Master, which is the central component for the Stunticons. So a bit like a Power Ranger Megazord, obviously you got your main one in the middle and then you got your extra limbs. But that's looking to be really good. Looks like it's going to be like the definitive version. They're also doing Shattered Glass again, which is that sort of, the Star Trek thing where you have the mirror universe where the good guys are bad and the bad guys are good. They've been doing that in Transformers for a while, and they've got like they're doing an Ultra Magnus, but they've given him like a skeletal skull face, which is kind of like quite cool to see on a Transformer. I won't lie. And then we had the Super Big Bot, which is they like doing the Titan class ones, and I've got many of those laying around. This one is going to be Energon Metroplex. So it's not Metroplex from the G1 cartoon. It is from the Energon cartoon. It's had really mixed, polarizing reveals. All the other figures have pretty good. Everyone's pretty stoked about, but the big Titan one, the price increase. Everyone's obviously, it's normally the Titans are like 120 quid. This one's like 200 or 180 in the UK, $200. It's which is huge. It doesn't have as much in it as the others. It's still a really nice looking figure for what it is, but the problem is Energon fans you had Armada, Energon, Cybertron, which was like a trilogy of series quite a few years ago, but it has a really sort of, I think, quite a niche audience. So to make a very specifically big character from that wasn't even the main character, but like just one of the sub characters that is going to be this big and like 200 quid. It's a bit of a gamble, and I don't think it's going to pay off. I think that's going to be one, considering the Arc is still quite available in like Smiths and stuff like that, at a discount, and I think this is still going to be available for a while. But it is an exciting time for Transformers though, because they are covering everything. Like I got my Legacy Blaster the other day, which is really happy with how that's come out. The Studio series is still kicking off as well with the ones from the live action movies, because some people really want models of those. And then like the 86 as well, because I got the 86 Perceptor the other day, which is, it looks like it's jumped straight out of the old 86 movie. All I'm waiting for is for a fully battle damaged dying Optimus Prime. That movie, exactly.
The movie on my jumper.
Movie on my shirt. Done. But yeah, it is genuinely a really exciting time for sort of Transformers. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's difficult because obviously I know you guys don't really follow Transformers, but
no, it's cool to hear like how much is going on, and I think that shows the scope of how much is coming out from Hasbro, and therefore the change in boxes and the change in prices isn't something to really be concerned about for the company and the products that we get, because there's so much coming out.
Do you know what is expensive though coming out from Hasbro is that bloody Power Ranger sword. I got so excited for the Red Ranger sword, and then I saw the price tag. I was like, oh no, that's divorce worthy. I'm not getting that. Like
what was the tag on it? I didn't even look.
It was
no, I know the sword, but I didn't look at the actual price tag.
Like 229 or something. It was quite expensive.
It's like, yeah,
that's a lot considering like the Ghostbuster backpack was like what, $350, and
half of the equipment you needed.
Have you not noticed that they've stopped talking about any form of HasLabs now? They've not even got one in the pipeline. They're not talking about it. They're just releasing these big ticket products just under regular lines.
Zavi have got the Power Ranger sword up for pre-order for $220. So good old Zavi.
Okay.
Yeah,
and I've also got the Power Ranger Pink Ranger helmet down on sale for £35 at the moment.
Ooh.
That is ridiculously cheap. Down from 90.
Might have
Shame
to,
no one can fit in it.
My wife can, because
she can get a whole body in that helmet. That's incredible.
Always. That's why I married a contortionist.
No, but it's, in all fairness, it's the Pink Ranger, and she was Diddy. So it would be like, I'd be annoyed if like they released a massive Pink Ranger helmet. Like, it's just.
But I didn't realize until I tried to put it on. Sounds stupid. I didn't make the connection in my head until I went and I like basically cut my face in half.
I did the same thing.
Yeah,
Just
but like it looks really
everything.
good. It looks really good.
I'm pretty sure that when I had it on, like my bits of my beard was sticking out the side of it. You know,
I did have the Red Ranger one. I look like the red. I look more like the Redneck Ranger rather than Red Ranger. Like it's just sitting there. I don't know what we're gonna do about these damn monsters. Billy Bob, get your Megazord out.
Did we
the Green Ranger's got a banjo instead.
Zordon came to eat. My big old fat Zordon came to eat.
Did you was there anything else? Was that kind of was that round the week up? It seems like there's so much that's happened this week.
Kenobi got a nice new piece of artwork.
Artwork for
Obi-Wan.
Obi-Wan, the new TV series. Kenobi got a nice
new of course,
header art piece that was like it was like the hood and the helmet of Vader kind of attached together with their faces. It was very nice. And it showed them clashing with lightsabers in the middle. Very nice.
Kenobi.
Everyone's obviously waiting for that scene. It's going to be all of like a few seconds at the end, in it. But everyone's waiting for that scene where they have another clash.
For people who can, it's
it's a really nice piece of artwork. I think they're gonna drop teasers in as we go now. I think we're on the road to Kenobi, aren't we?
The next few weeks is going to be very Star Wars heavy because it's the month of May this year is basically Star Wars month, isn't it? We've got Celebration. Yeah. We've got Celebration coming up. Kenobi's coming up. May the 4th coming up. And on May the 4th, they're going to give us the information about Fallen Order. So, I mean, there's a lot coming up this next month. It's going to be jam-packed with info.
Yeah. Speaking of just on Star Wars note, when I was out and about today and I was in Smith's and I saw the Black Series that they had in there, and they had a Fennec, and I was tempted to pick her up to go with which was 30 quid, £30 for just a standard figure. And I was like, I can't justify spending 30 quid because I want her.
The prices at Smith's have gone up at the minute, and they're all, I don't know,
like they've gone up ridiculously high.
Yeah, 30 quid's a lot. I'm glad that I pre-order. Well, I don't pre-order, but I'm glad I get them online for the rates we get them at. Because 30 quid at retail is insane. I get it when it's one of those like fancy exclusives, the re-armored edition or whatever, but not just a standard price.
But it's kind of like, to put it into perspective, like Ulick, the troll that I got from and that's just a retool from the San Diego Comic Con. Like the articulation, the knees and stuff, it's not as good as modern deluxe figures, but that like retails at about 35 quid, and there's so much plastic in it, and it's so big and heavy and comes with all heads and that kind of stuff. And then you look at literally £5 less and you get Fennec, which is quite a small figure for what it is. Yeah, I was kind of like, no, I can't do that. But bizarrely, Smiths have done some really mad deals. Like they had the MODOK up for like £12 in the sale. People were picking out for 12 quid. I was like, that's insane. Like, if I saw it for 12 quid, I'd get another two just for the sake of it. Like, it's madness.
The thing is with the Fennec figure as well is I said this on my review. Like for a while now, we've been getting helmets that are very pliable and that they'll go over the heads without scuffing up the faces and stuff. They're quite loose. And now this new Fennec helmet is just like the old style helmets. You have to really force that thing on her head. And I was like, because she's got a very nice looking face sculpt on it. So I was really hesitant to put that mask back on.
Yeah. No, I saw it, I held it, put it back. I was just kind of like, yeah, whatever.
And maybe just laugh at the fact that she's number one in the line. So Boba Fett's own line of figures, he's not even number one in his own line of figures. He's not even number one in his own show. Just put it out there.
Says it all, doesn't it? So so that rounds up this week, I guess. I'm just going to put my gauntlet on to say goodbye. It's my new.
Well, I've got to hand it to you.
I just love this thing. The opportunity to play with it. Okay. No, I won't play with it. I'll just leave it there. It is a lot of fun. So that kind of rounds up week 45. Week 45 of the Geek Week in Review. So we are now 7 weeks away from our 1 year anniversary, which is insane when you think about it. Which feels like a long time, but when I think back to when we started, episode 7 didn't feel like that. It didn't feel like it took that long to get to episode 7. So we are getting close to a year anniversary, which is really cool. So we'll round it up. Anything else to add before we kind of do the spiel?
This is the longest running podcast I've ever done. Over the years, I've done so many weird podcasts with people, and it's dropped off after about week 3. This is the only one that's been consistent.
I just think it's good. It's good fun.
That's what it is. It's persistent.
Yeah. I don't even know what to add to that. I just think it's fun. It's fun. We chew the fat, and you got to bear in mind as well. We are living in a. We got so much content and so much product coming out, which compared to previous years, we are very lucky. So,
and our partners really don't want to talk to us about it, so we might as well talk to each other.
Oh yeah, I can't talk to my wife about any of this stuff. I mean, she would listen, but she just wouldn't react. She
have no idea what you're talking about.
Sit there lifeless. Like, I don't give a shit. Like just I don't care.
Always, as long as you're happy.
But you know what? I think that's part of the trick. I think that's part of the trick. Like people always talk like it always gets me before we do round off. It always does get me on the groups and stuff where you sort of see people going, "Oh, I've got to lie to my wife about this," or "My girlfriend doesn't know about this," or "I've pre-ordered this, but can somebody say I've won it in a raffle or something?" The key to that is marry somebody that doesn't give a shit. That's the key. Like
always, the first person I show my birch to is Caroline, and then she looks at me and she's like, "It's really cool. Do you really like obviously?" And I'm like, "Yeah," but like it just means nothing. Sometimes it means nothing. Sometimes she's like, "That is really cool." And I can see like, "Oh, interested you on this one because it's Stranger Things related." But then it'll be like something like the gauntlet, like my Infinity Gauntlet. Caroline's
I went in and I said, "Look at this. How cool is this?" And Jake, it looks like an oven glove. I was like, but it's a cool oven glove. No, but then my kids were like, "That's amazing. Let me play with it. I want to have a go." Like, blah, blah, blah. But that's the trick to it, guys. If anyone's wondering how to make a relationship work as a collector, marry somebody that does not care. That does not care about that kind of stuff because they're not going to bother you about it. And that's the advice.
Be honest and don't do drugs.
Yeah, and don't lie about it. That's one thing. Don't ever lie about your collecting. Like I think if I
you
lied
will be found out.
Yeah. Like if I was telling my wife that I won everything in a raffle, she'd be like, play the bloody lottery. Like, do you know what I mean? Like get a lottery ticket. Stop winning these toys.
There ain't that many raffles.
Yeah. It's just make sure everything else is paid for and then enjoy your collection. But there we go. On that real Jerry Springer ending. It was, wasn't it?
Oh Jesus.
And next week we'll talk about love. So week 45 of the Geek Week in Review. Thank you very much for listening if you are still with us. If you're listening on podcast, I cannot stress enough, please do download, share, all those things. Podcasts, guys, kind of just it's there. It'll be great to rise up a little bit in the podcast charts. But it's good. We do appreciate our consistent podcast listeners.
Podcast people, please stick around.
Yeah, please, podcast people, we need you.
No. In all seriousness, we've got a consistent podcast kind of base. I'm just saying, like, keep downloading, keep sharing, because it would be cool to get that out to more people. So we do really appreciate you guys listening on podcasts. It really is. It is cool.
Keep casting your pods.
It is such a huge, like, sea of people in, like, so many podcasts. Like, there are literally podcasts about podcasts. Like, that's how many podcasts there are out there. So it is really cool to know that there's a group of people.
So you haven't heard my Geek Week in Review then? Where I talk about, I narrate this show and then put it out on Spotify.
See, but then I do a show narrating your show, narrating this show, and give my opinions on all of that. So it's but in all fairness, if you're listening on podcast, thank you very much. Carry on downloading, sharing, etc. And if you're watching on YouTube because you enjoy watching the moving pictures and seeing the things that we are playing with while we talk, please, look, you guys, I'm trying my best.
Jesus.
Listen, you all
the
know
moving pictures before I go to the candlestick maker.
You all
Popping off to the cobblers.
Right, listen, you're the watch.
You just have to dumbed it down for him. Like, if you enjoy the movie pictures, keep watching, subscribe, like.
Bright colours and shapes next week.
If you like loud noises, thank you very much for watching. If you like bright colours, thank you very much for watching. If you like listening, thank you for doing a podcast. If you like watching, thank you for doing YouTube. And if you like everything else in between, then please do like, share, subscribe.
I think that's covered everything. If you exist, thank you for existing.
If you are somewhere, somehow listening to what is going on here in some media, keep doing it. Thanks very much.
And you haven't stopped listening yet with all this shit we're saying.
Oh dear, it's a good one. It's good.
Is there one more thing to say then?
Yeah, I'm getting to it, Ryan. Right?
Oh, well, yeah, just.
You said that with dead seriousness in your eyes.
You got so angry.
Get into it, Ryan.
I know. I want you to just, Ryan.
God, he went full gauntlet on me. I was getting worried then. I thought he was going to click his fingers at me. Yeah, look at that. I'm really hoping he's frozen, because if not, he's really angry.
I'm getting to it, Ryan. All right, just no. But if everyone knows the deal. Everyone knows the deal. Like, share, subscribe, all those things. Check the description for the guys' details. Give them a follow if you don't already do so. Keep listening and watching on the platform that you are listening and watching. We appreciate you. Thank you very much. We'll see you on week 46. And until then, keep it geek.
The Geek Week in Review.